I just had my final critique for the end of the winter trimester. And final critique is different than our daily critiques. Final critique, they're private, you're in your own room, and you have all the work that you've made during that 10 weeks of the term on display on easels, and then it's just you, Matt, and Magda, which are our two instructors. And I really like final critique because I think it's really cool and really nice that you can see all of your work that you've made put together, because then you can really compare everything, and so you can really then see what you're really excelling at and then what you're also lacking in. And so I showed my paintings, my finished foot cast, the in-progress Bernini cast, which is just in its wash stage right now, and my first painting of Catherine. And now I know the background looks a bit funny on it because some parts have sunken in, and other parts in the background were still pretty wet, so I couldn't oil it out, and that's why it looks kind of weird in the background. And I also had my transfer drawings, and some transfer drawings got turned into paintings and other ones were just practice ones. The foot cast, Bernini cast, I had Catherine, Emily, and then my collection of Brian's. And I showed my pencil drawings, which range from 2 hours to 6 hours. And my little gesture studies. And then finally works that I did outside of school in my free time. And then so we sit there for a little while of tense silence while they look at everything. And then they list out what you can be working on, which is always a longer list than what you're doing well on. But I mean, that's why you're in training, right? To get better and be told how you can improve rather than just be praised. And the first thing that they said was my biggest weakness is arms. And I totally agree with them. We talked about this during my last final critique, that I struggle with arms. It's the structure and then also the length of them. And so since my last final critique, I have been focusing more on arms. I don't find arms the most fun part of a drawing anyway, and I think that's why I'm just like not putting as much time into them as I really need to. And I really don't want those to show anything like lacking in my drawings or paintings, so I really need to focus on them more. And this is also related to my weakness with bases, which bases is kind of our inside joke because I'm terrible at bases. Well, I wouldn't say I'm terrible with bases. I just don't find them fun. They're not the focal point of the piece usually, so I just don't put a lot of time into them, so they never get like an even level of resolve with them as everything else that I do. And so we talked about arms and bases for a little while it's probably why they are the weakest point of my work, and it's because it's way more fun to be working in the focal points, and usually the arms and the bases aren't telling the story of the piece anyway. But I think what I need to do is for the first week or so really put a really equal focus on the whole thing, and make sure that I have a really strong structure of everything, and then once everything's feeling solid, then I can get carried away with all the fun focal points. And Magda also specifically said that I should work on the knees more and then maybe study the anatomy of the knee a little bit. And then Matt specifically said that my paintings are looking kind of dark, and that's because I'm not utilizing my fullest range of values, which is more the values on the lighter side. And this comment made a lot of sense because thinking back at the paintings and working on them, I remember that I was really pushing the lighter values and I was adding really light values, but it was kind of looking weird in the paintings, so then I would just tone them down, and so I never got comfortable with keeping things on the lighter side. But I think why it was looking weird when I was putting the light values on was because I wasn't focusing on nailing the transitions in between the letter values and spreading them out. So when I was putting the letter values on, things were looking flat and kind of cut out. So I really need to focus on nailing those transitions. And then lastly was the development of my little pencil drawings. And I know when I work on them, I get to a point where I feel like the structure is solid and I'm happy with it. And then there's about like 25 minutes left of the session, and I kind of don't know what to do to it to get it to a really good sense of resolve. And about a week or two ago, Magda came by and she showed me how I can play around with tone to get the resolve. So I definitely am going to be applying that for this next trimester and just practicing that more. And then we talked about my strengths. What they said is that I'm really good at the structure of the legs, and especially the standing leg, and showing that weight is being compressed on it. And they also said that they really like the way that I've been blocking in all of my drawings. Magda said she really likes how I'm using planes to really express and show in simple ways everything that the figure is doing. And then Matt and Magda, they offered me a student teaching position at Ravenswood. And that was honestly really out of the blue for me. It wasn't something that I even knew that I wanted it so badly until they told me that I had it. And I'm just really excited about it. And I'm also kind of nervous too to do it the first time, but I think it should be really fun.